Hey guys, this is Scarab here again. How are you doing? Hope you're fine. Welcome to another episode of Clash of the Titans series. This game is continuation of games between Nick the Man and Greyhound as part of second veteran elite tournament, which took place, I don't know, several weeks or a couple of months ago. And yes, and this is the last game of three, and the third game out of three. And in previous two games, Nick the Man actually lost both games to Greyhound. Greyhound steamrolled him, and I was really surprised because in my world, Nick the Man is usually the favorite, but. Considering he was playing Red 4 armored deck, I shouldn't have been surprised that much. It was not a good deck. I think Nick the Man was experimenting too much, and but this time, so this game was the last game. It was his last chance to redeem himself, and boy, did he redeem himself. Nick playing on in the blue, starting at the blue corner. He's going to play Eurocorps, unspecialized deck, which is one of the meta decks. I totally agree with picking this deck. And Greyhound in the red corner. He will be playing, I believe, BLUFOR mechanized deck, BLUFOR general mechanized deck. So two BLUFOR decks against each other. The first thing which we can see, which is interesting, Nick buying FOB. Alright, this is a long-term investment. So I'm not usually a big fan of this, but let's see if Nick buys some howitzers or some heavy artillery, and let's see if this FOB will see some kind of usage or during the first 20 minutes. I'm rather curious. We can see two Rolands. We can see Leclerc tank, very expensive unit, being bought right off the bat. Okay, Pataiga, another rather expensive unit. We will see if these units will pay for themselves during this match. That's gonna be really interesting. We can see that due to those units, Nick lacks a lot of infantry and some recon, so we will see. He relies totally on his Ep.2 Tiger and Gazelle. Let's check Greyhound's corner. What's going on here? Greyhound, a lot of infantry being sent to Foxtrot and possibly into India, but it is all mechanized infantry. Rather slow vehicles. It takes time before they reach their destination. Wow, actually wow. Buying air superiority fighter, elite F-15C Eagle for 170 points. I don't know. I do not support this decision. It's Greyhound is trying to get air superiority right off the bat, but it costs him a lot of points. Okay, PH2 Tiger smashing those recon infantry units right at the beginning. Stinger and Hawkpip. Oh my god, what was that? Did you see that? What the hell? Jesus Christ, the Bar Tiger, sorry, and the Hawkpip he's like, oh my gosh, my mom told me I could be everything, so I decided to be artillery, okay? uh, oh, I'm sorry, that was probably not intentional from Greyhound, but he was just trying to snipe the Tiger helicopter, but he didn't succeed. And okay, and we see one of the disadvantages of mechanized deck, which Greyhound is playing. He totally lost these buildings in Delta. Guys, I'm sorry, but usually the player who starts at hotel, he usually has pretty big problems to take control of this city. Okay, he is very lucky if he gets his troops into this city and this forest right here. He's very lucky. He's very happy because it's usually very difficult. Okay, usually at least these 3 buildings, they usually get under control of the player who starts at eco. And Greyhound, right off the bat, playing slow mechanized units, he loses these buildings, which is a pretty big mistake in my opinion. Oh my, Nick losing his primary reconnaissance helicopter. No, not a good idea, but yeah. This Leclerc actually helped him a lot to assert domination in Delta. He has not been punished for his presence. Why? Because Greyhound actually invested a lot in the ASF fighter plane, which is yeah that was a mistake in my opinion. So let's take a look. Let's take a peek at this battlefield and this battleground from strategic perspective. So what both guys are doing? Greyhound, he's got income advantage, but all right, is this income advantage justified? Does he really have upper hand on the battlefield? I doubt so. I doubt so. Just let's check the positions. This map is called Nuclear Winter is Coming. It has many zones, and it is very difficult from a strategic point of view to decide how you should play this map. Very often players who start at eco, they sometimes they even try to push straight into India, which is what Greyhound is doing right now. He is pushing with his slow mechanized units right into India. For some reason he has not taken this forest to have greater control over the zone, and immediately Nick is sending reinforcements to India, of course. He doesn't want to lose the zone because it is a +2 income zone. It provides really huge income needed to win the game, so he must not lose it. Pushing into India with mechanized troops without proper fire support, I don't know, tanks, artillery, infantry support units, or at least helicopters, always wrong idea. I don't think this is sustainable. Okay, I don't think that riflemen, regular infantry units with slow transport vehicles against Marders and Marders 2 incoming. I don't think that Greyhound can pull this off with infantry alone. That is bollocks. Okay, that you should not do this. This is I don't know what's the idea behind this attack. Yeah, maybe Greyhound thought that Nick would have 0 units in India, but still, but you cannot take full control of India zone just with regular infantry. Okay, you need tanks, you need anti-air units, you need fire support, and only then you can really push your enemy out of this zone. And it's very difficult. Usually my favorite strategy is fighting over Delta. Delta, even though it is only a +1 zone, mediocre income, lower income, but Delta lies right in the middle of the map. I have been talking in some of my previous videos about so-called center of gravity for each Wargame map, and center of gravity, the biggest center of gravity, on this map lies right in the middle of Delta Zone, so somewhere here, let's say, somewhere in the city or maybe in this forest. But I would say in this city. This city is the center of gravity of the whole nuclear winter map. On the other hand, yes, there are less important, but important nevertheless, zones, like smaller centers of gravity, and I will show them to you right now. The first one is actually this little town. This little town is really important. You should secure it if you don't want your opponent to push to Foxtrot or vice versa to India. Another center of gravity is this little town, which gives you access both to Alpha and Charlie, and another center of gravity is this little forest right here, which gives you access to both Charlie and Alpha as well, and it gives you also access to this right flank. My favorite tactics, there are 3 strategies how to approach this map. You either push India, you try, but you have to push, you have to totally push your enemy out of India. That's the first strategy. The second strategy is taking Delta, not pushing into India, not pushing into Charlie, and the third strategy is pushing into Charlie. Okay. Again, +2 income zone. If you place your command vehicle in such a zone, it gives you tremendous income advantage. So there are 3 strategies. I think the most correct one from logistics point of view is taking these smaller centers of gravity, these little towns, maybe this little forest, but primarily you should take this big city and this forest right in the middle of the map. If you actually secure Delta, you should be fine, and you should win the game, unless you make some big mistakes on the flank. So let's see what's going on here. Nick, even though he is playing Eurocorps unspecialized deck, he is actually pushing. He actually chose to play the strategy which I had mentioned, the best strategy in my opinion, and that is taking control over Delta, defending Charlie, defending India, and simply take advantage of +1 income going into your favor. We can see that Greyhound is winning, and he is winning by big margin right now. He is 200 points ahead, and he still has from time to time +2 income. But is this justifiable? Is this can he hold on to this advantage? Can he practically secure this income advantage for the next 29 minutes? Because there are still 29 minutes left, and we can see that Greyhound is actually getting under heavy pressure from Nick the Man. Nick successfully retaking control over India. He's got way too many units in India right now. And Greyhound, no, he is not capable of securing this zone at all. He's got too few units, no fire support, Kernes plane definitely not being enough. So he is going to lose this zone, definitely. He has not taken control over this forest for some reason. Just 1 unit of Fusiliers, 90. That's not enough in my opinion. But the more important but much bigger problem for Greyhound is brewing in Alpha and in Delta. He totally lost control of Delta, and that's going to be a problem for him. I personally believe that Nick the Man, he's much happier right now than Greyhound is. Okay, because he's got much better positioning on the map than Greyhound does. Greyhound, for some reason, trying to push into Charlie again without any support, without any anti-air units, without any I don't know, tanks, infantry fire support, without any artillery. He is relying on these expensive planes, which, as we can see, he just lost one of them. You can't do that, okay? I mean, he is desperate. This is always a sign of desperation, because as I have told you before, guys, mechanized decks, they are rather slow. In my opinion, Eugene Systems, who designed this game, they simply decided to create specialized decks for multiplayer purposes. Okay, in 1 versus 1 scenario, specialized decks are never an option, in my opinion. There is a couple of exceptions, like, I don't know, Landshut mechanized, maybe Scandinavian mechanized, maybe Commonwealth motorized, maybe, but I'm not really sure about that. Maybe American Marines, maybe Blue Dragon Marines. Okay, but still, I think that unspecialized decks are generally better, because you are not sacrificing your some of your prototype units. You are not sacrificing good artillery, good tanks, and other things, attack helicopters and stuff like that. Playing mechanized deck, you are sacrificing too much. It's like getting married, pretty much. You may end up paying too much in the end. By playing mechanized deck, you are sacrificing good artillery, you are sacrificing expensive tanks, you are sacrificing attack helicopters that provide pretty good support to your airborne infantry units, and you are sacrificing motorized units, which is, I think, the biggest problem. The consequence of that is that mechanized decks are generally slow. Okay, so they are good for defense, they are efficient for defense, but they are very difficult to push with, to attack with. To be on, it's difficult for them to be on offensive, right? Because they have nothing to carry out offensives with. Only the infantry, nothing else. No heavy tanks, no artillery, and well, maybe you can buy artillery, but usually it sucks. Yeah. So as of now, Nick Daman has +1 income advantage, and that's exactly what I anticipated. As soon as Greyhound lost control over Delta. Look, guys, there is still 24 minutes left. Even with +1 income advantage, and that is a plenty of time for Nick the Man to win the game. Okay, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. No question about it. Okay. It's just, and what Greyhound can do, really, he will be spamming those infantry units. He will be sending them to their deaths, and that's gonna be it. It's just he lacks support. He lacks good offensive units, except for planes. But it means that if he wants to push anywhere, and it doesn't matter, he will have to push into Delta, of course. If he wants to push anywhere, he will have to rely on planes, on bombers and anti-tank planes and whatnot. Okay, but that's always too risky. More so if your opponent, like Nick the Man, has got 2 stacked Roland anti-air units or batteries right here in the middle of the map. Sure, their range is not the best. That's why they are stacked. If both of them hit their target, it is 12 points of damage, so it kills 99% of planes which are available in this game. So, and yes, Nick the Man is a very good logistics player. He keeps them resupplied. Leclerc in the forest. That's not what I like to see. Sure, it's not the biggest mistake of all, because Leclerc, his rate of fire is actually godlike. And if he stands against, even if he fights against another expensive tank in the forest, he will win always because of his rate of fire. But still, I think it's quite dangerous. But at this moment, that is the only unit Nick is relying on as a support during skirmishes in this forest. Reinforcements have arrived, and the true massacre begins. Merkava 2A providing fire support, 3 stacks of riflemen, regular units serving as meat shield, 2 stacks of reservists, 1 stack of Rovite, another regular infantry unit, 2 stacks of riflemen, 3 stacks of riflemen, and not so many infantry units on Nick's side of the forest. Well, let's see how this turns out for Nick. Greyhound is pushing really hard, but with rather cheap units. Legion 90 being stunned, not really the best unit for close quarter combat in my opinion, but whatever, better than nothing. And we can see, oh, let's check this out. It seems like Nick the Man relies on howitzers. Yes, Nick the Man, guys. After 20 minutes, for the first 20 minutes, this FOB still is full. It is full of supplies. Pretty big mistake for 30 for the first 20 minutes. I think this is okay. Whatever. At least now Nick has this Caesar howitzer, and if he keeps shelling the enemy units with it, he will have pretty good chance of depleting this FOB. So okay, I am glad that Nick finally bought Caesar. It is very strong howitzer unit, and it will wreak havoc in enemy lines. Just look at this. Look at this. Two units of mortar units of German mortars. Now see what's going to happen. Riflemen, regular units, totally demoralized, trying to push into Delta Forest, and at the same time being shelled by Nick's artillery units, mortars, and the Caesar howitzer. And that's the problem, right? You gotta be faster than that. Once regular infantry gets demoralized, as you can see, rifleman speed is 20 kilometers per hour. Okay, that's not much. They are rather slow, and once they get demoralized or stunned, their speed is about 10 kilometers per hour. Yeah, it is 50% speed. It's they are almost standing at one place. I mean, you cannot do anything with such units. That is why I believe that mechanized decks are really good for defense. Not moving, just defending your given spot, not moving anywhere, because the speed disadvantage is taken out of the picture. Okay, but if you are trying to push with regular infantry, you gotta be fast, and the regular infantry is not fast. Just look at this. This is massacre. This is massacre. Imagine these guys. They are alive. They are real people. Just imagine it. Just imagine these are real guys. They are dead. You just wasted 20 lives or so. Dead. Another dead. Commandos, much better for pushing. Definitely they are faster. They have really good damage. But again, only one unit, one stack. That's not enough. Okay. Not without support. Not without support. And as we can see, these reservists serving as meat shield, they will slow them down. I mean, the reservists, their damage sucks, alright? But that is not their purpose. Their purpose is to serve as meat shield, slowing down enemy units, so your artillery can decimate them. And Nick, just looking at this delta zone, I can conclude that Nick the Man provides his troops with much better support than Greyhound does. It is just it is just as watching massacre of lambs. It's just, yeah, just look at it. Just look at it. All those poor soldiers taking direct hits. And another guy is joining the massacre commandos. Okay. And this is really not what you should do with your units. Both in real war and in Wargame as well, because in Wargame actually you have very good advantage as a commander. Your units have to obey you. Okay, they have to obey your orders, even if they go to their certain deaths. They have to obey. In real war, most of these units, they would have deserted. They would have left the battlefield. They would have retreated. They would be demoralized long before they would reach the front line. Just look at it. Just look at it. 3, 5. Nick bought 5 mortars, and he's got already also the second Caesar howitzer. Okay, and he's starting to slowly deplete the FOB. Great job, but it's somewhat too late in my opinion. Like 13-14 minutes left is not too much. I think howitzers, those howitzers should have been bought earlier, but whatever. I mean he didn't have to buy them because he had an advantage. He was pushing into alpha, but Greyhound managed to buy a lot of infantry units, and he all attack moved them into Delta Zone. Nick the Man in very well defended positions. He's got the upper hand, guys. In buildings, his infantry has got 60% damage reduction. Greyhound's infantry in this forest, they have only 40% damage reduction. Okay, so Nick, that is why it is so crucial to take control of this city right here, because it lies right in the middle of the map. There is a center of gravity somewhere here, and you have to control this city. It gives you tremendous upper hand. Really, it's just this is one of the primary goals on this map, and Nick Demand, he succeeded taking this city. And even though wargame matches are always pretty long, they take 40 minutes. In the long term, controlling this position, this city right in the middle, it usually always pays for itself. Rakava already injured, hurt. Yeah, sure. I mean, this is some this is some Soviet shit, World War II shit right here. It's just telling your troops, go ahead, go ahead. Ignore the losses. Just take the target zones and hills and forests, and just ignore deaths of your comrades. It's just, yeah. I mean, this gameplay right here, it gives me Vietnam flashbacks. Seriously, it's just too painful to watch. Okay, imagine if these were real people, and the worst thing is that stuff like that it happens in a real world as well. It even happens in Ukrainian-Russian war today. Ordering your units to attack without providing them with proper support. It's a nightmare, honestly. I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't take part in such a campaign. It's just, yeah. Just look at the shelling, the mortars and howitzers dispatching and massacring these units. It's just painful to watch, really. Young boys, 18 years old, being massacred, and you cannot do much about it. It's just, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to dramatize this. I'm empathetic person, and sometimes I like to imagine that my troops are living people, real people, real soldiers, and yeah. I mean, I'm making this kind of mistake as well, but I'm not Lieutenant General, right? So yeah, it's just. And if you send reservists to the battlefield, at least the least you should do is to provide them with proper support. The only artillery unit a Greyhound is relying on is this cheapest mortar unit for 30 points. It won't change a thing. It is useless in my opinion. It is good for smoking tanks, but for killing infantry units, not so much in my opinion. Unless, of course, you have 4 units stacked or something like that. But even then, I think one howitzer is better than 4 of these mortars. Nothing going on in India. Nick successfully defended India, and he is well defended. This would be really difficult for Greyhound. This zone would be really difficult for Greyhound to take or push into. He's got no units here, no force, and Nick probably knows that really well. Okay, guys. This is Massacre. I will speed the game up a little bit. Things happening here on the right flank and in this forest, they do not really matter. As long as you have control over Alpha, you really shouldn't be reinforcing this flank. Greyhound should realize that he lost pretty much. He cannot push. He is from the logistics point of view. He is pretty big disadvantage because he's playing mechanized units. He cannot properly push into Charlie. He should be doing his best to take Delta, but he lacks support. He doesn't have any good howitzers. Just check his base. Just let's check his starting zone. Can you see any howitzers here? Any artillery, any FOB? He's got no FOB. That wouldn't be a problem. He can still buy a howitzer or two. But there are no howitzers. Are there any howitzers in Bravo? There are no howitzers. No heavy artillery. No support. Okay, relying too much on planes, on bombers. That's not enough. Okay, that's not enough. It's just over time, over 20 minutes, 30 minutes, howitzers always do more damage than bombers. Okay, unless you, unless you talk about really big and heavy bombers, like F-15D Eagle or Nighthawk or I don't know. And this is Massacre. Greyhound's front line totally collapsed. He cannot even defend without fire support. And Nick the Man successfully overcoming 200 points income advantage in Greyhound's favor. As if you can remember, at the beginning of the game, Greyhound had exactly 200 points income advantage. And during 29 minutes, it took 29 minutes, but Nick was successful. Nick went from 0 to hero. He accumulated 343 points, and man, he's got +4 income advantage. Okay. He might easily reach, I don't know, 380 points, maybe 400 points within a minute. Doesn't matter. He has won the game. I mean, Greyhound, he cannot do anything. He couldn't do anything 10 minutes ago. Okay, why? Because he lacked support units. He was relying too much on planes. But those planes, they are your only tool that can provide you support. Okay, it's just he had to rely on those planes. He couldn't do anything else. He didn't have anything in at his deck. He had only good infantry. Good infantry. What is good infantry? That's the question. If you give your infantry units one rank of veterancy, does that make them immortal? No, of course not. So I don't know. It's just, yeah. He was sacrificing his units left and right, and in the end, you end up with 2,000 more kills than your opponent Greyhound. This was a beautiful game. I always knew Nick could play like this. If he's not trolling, if he's not playing experimental decks, if he plays meta decks, which Eurocorps definitely is one of the meta decks, along with USSR deck, or maybe some maybe Landjut and Yugoslavian deck, Antan deck. He always wins. If he is serious, Nick always wins. And here you can see he got steamrolled in the previous two games, like big time. Greyhound played really well, but in my opinion, Greyhound simply played better deck. But this time, on this very difficult map, Nig wins. But again, Nuclear Winter is coming, is pretty big map. I do not understand why Greyhound. And he's one of the best players as well. He's very intelligent, he's very skilled, he's got very good strategic thinking, in my opinion. But for some reason, and I do not know why, he decided to play mechanized deck. On such a big map like Nuclear Winter is coming. I mean, if he was playing mechanized deck on Highway to Seoul, which is even bigger, I believe, the outcome would be the same. You cannot properly reinforce your units. You cannot get them on the front line as quickly as you would like to. You have to rely on planes, which on Highway to Seoul that can be advantage sometimes, actually. But you need those motorized units, really. You really do. You need the artillery batteries, okay? Those prototypes, prototype howitzers. You really need them. You really need them. They are good. They cost 120 points, 130 points, but they are good, man. They are good. They are much better than stacked mortars, okay? It's just, and what Nick was doing, he was just camping with those Caesars at his base, and he was just spamming Greyhound's infantry over and over and over and over. And I think towards the game, towards the end of the game, he might have even depleted his FOB. Maybe not. I think it was not totally depleted in the end, but almost depleted. So good for him. Good for him. He took advantage of his howitzers, and they were part of his deck. And I applaud him. I applaud him for his decision to buy them and wreak havoc in Greyhound's lines. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching this video of mine. I hope I will do more of these in future, but I would like to focus on other things as well. If you have any feedback, if you have any ideas, please write them down in the comment section. I will hugely appreciate that. If you want, please smash the like button. It will help me a lot. This channel is rather new, so it's definitely going to help out a bit. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much for coming, and I will be looking forward to you next time in one of my other videos. Thanks again. Have a nice day, and bye bye.